All right, this is a spruce, often referred to as a pine tree, but it's not a pine tree, it's a spruce. Now you can tell, pop one of the needles off and roll it between your fingers. You can feel the sides, it's four-sided, and you can feel them in your fingers. Now, it's also a conifer. It does produce cones. They produce them every year, and they're small and they grow to be big. Red squirrels and birds will eat the seeds, and they drop those cones to make the tree. Now, this is a tree that goes all the way down to the ground, the branches. This is the tree you want in an emergency situation. If you're out in the woods and you need shelter, this is what you want. You crawl up underneath and you're gonna find a dry spot. It's gonna be this place that's gonna keep you safe from wind, the snow, possibly even rain, depending on how thick the tree is. You can use these boughs to protect you from in a debris shelter or over the top of something, but you do not want to use these as bedding. These needles, they're actually really sharp, and when you crush them, they make a pretty potent smell. It's not something you want to lay on. In fact, sometimes it's called skunk spruce. So this is a good tree for some things. One of the things the Native Americans used to use is the root structure, which has got pliable but really strong roots, and they would use that to weave together baskets and to make their birch bark canoes. Now, the spruce produces one more thing that we really like. Let's go inside a little closer to the trunk and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, here we are inside underneath the boughs of the spruce tree. And this is what I wanted to show you. When the spruce's branches are cut off or broken off, it produces a lot of sap. It comes out in these globules right here. You can kind of see it all over. And here's a big chunk. Now, you just take a tin, take some stuff off, and scoop it out. And now you're not going to hurt this tree. It's going to actually produce more sap. So if you're going to be in an area for a long time, cut some branches off, and there you got your sap. Sap is great for starting fires, for making glue, and you know, it has a pleasant aroma. So let's see what we can make with this. So this here is a birch tree. Birch trees are pretty well known. They have a white bark and it peels. One reason why they're called paper birch. In the old days, they would peel this off, particularly off the young trees, and they would use it as paper. Now, birch trees are sometimes known as weak trees because they're soft and they rot easily, but they're pioneer trees because they're the first ones found where no other tree will grow. These are the trees that grow in the harshest environments, all the way up to Siberia, and they're pretty versatile. You can peel this paper off, use it for tinder. The Native Americans would use the birch bark as canoes because it's waterproof. It develops kind of a cork-like inside the bark to make it waterproof. Make baskets, all kinds of different things. It also grows a fungus. And right here is a beautiful example. That is called chaga. It can be used for medicinal value or true tinder fungus. It can be used to start fires. It holds an ember and it's really good for starting a fire, especially in wet conditions. And there's something else I want to show you. Let's show you this magnificent tree I found. All right, here you go. Now that is a magnificent birch tree. They don't normally get this big. 50 years is usually the max, sometimes all the way to 100. This one's probably at least 100 years or more. It's so big that when this giant branch fell, it actually knocked down 2 other trees. Now, most of the time, birch hits the ground, completely becomes pointless. It's so soft, you pick it up, it's just mush, it just crushes. It can't be used for kindling or anything else to start a fire. But when the branch is like this, where it's off the ground, it's naturally drying. Wonderful for starting fires. You just peel some of that bark off, there you go. Now, it's important to notice, don't peel off the bark off of a live tree. That will actually hurt the tree. But once it's dead, go ahead. Now, if you see a new one, prop it up, let it dry out naturally next to your shelter, your campsite, you can use it. Birch is wonderful. It's got lots of nutrients for animals in the wintertime, and it's the first one to shoot its leaves in the spring. So birch, extremely versatile. So let me show you what I made with my birch tree. All right, so this is what we're gonna do with that sap we collected. We're gonna make glue. Get yourself an old can, coffee can, a bowl, something that you don't care if it gets ruined. Then you take that sap. Now, we got spruce sap. Actually, any sap will work, but here's the spruce sap we collected yesterday. Put that in your can, get it start melting. Then you take some charcoal. Just get some charcoal from a previous fire, grind it up, make it into powder. And you actually add about 3 parts sap to 1 part of the powder. Now, do not do this inside. It's a pretty potent smell, and it gets really hot and liquidy. Let it just melt in that can for a little bit, and then once it's liquid, there we go. Whew, wish you could smell this. Add a little bit of the dust. There we go. It'll be pretty black, But this stuff, excellent glue. Alright, pour it in your can that you got ready. Alright, let's go. This stuff sets really fast. Alright, now I've made my spruce sap glue. This stuff's sticky and it's hot. It sets fast, so you want to work fast. So you goop your glue on. You know, don't be shy. It's got a good smell. It's dark. It's got that. The reason it's so dark is because of that ash that we added in. I'm inside because it is, after all, winter in Wisconsin, so December. A little cold for working outside, but alright, I'm going to lather this up with the rest of this glue. Alright, my assistant's going to put that camera down. We're going to tie this up, let it sit overnight, and you can see what we made. Alright, so I let this sit overnight. We wrapped it up really tight after we glued it and let it sit. See how well we did. The nice thing about birch bark is it's pretty flexible. So you get it wet, put it in the shape you want, let it sit overnight, and there you go. Haha, success. I have a birch bark container. You can use this for all kinds of things. Hold beans in it, make it waterproof, you can hold water in here. This might even fit one of those big size Foster's beer, I think. Nice beer cozy, right? So, there you go. There's my birch bark and spruce sap glue container. There's one more tree we need to talk about, the balsam fir. Remember the flat needle versus the spruce? When you cut it down, it makes a perfect Christmas tree. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's, everyone.